Looks like the so-called #1 stunner Birdman just dropped a bombshell. Hungry Mud, better known to the streets as Toni Braxton, is catching heat after Birdman supposedly put her on blast for being a straight-up gold digger. The talk going around is wild. Birdman's allegedly saying Toni bled his bank account dry, dipped the second the cash stopped flowing, and now she's creeping right back toward being broke again. And let's be real, Toni Braxton going broke wouldn't exactly be breaking news. This ain't her first time dancing with financial disaster. She's already been through 2 bankruptcies and got a history of spending big like the money would never run out. Folks are connecting the dots, but now with Birdman speaking out, the whole story's taking a messy new turn. People in Toni's corner are saying Birdman's just salty and trying to twist the truth. But others can't help but wonder, did she really play him dirty? The streets are buzzing about the allegations, the cash trail, and the chaos that followed. This could go down as one of the messiest R&B relationship scandals ever. And here's the kicker. Reports claim Toni tried to walk away from Birdman with a jaw-dropping $160 million divorce payout after being married for less than a month. Yeah, you heard that right. Some say she didn't even stick around long enough to act like a wife. Word is, she separated from Birdman just 2 days after saying "I do." Less than a month after tying the knot, Toni slammed the brakes, filing for divorce and saying the marriage was done for good with zero hope of fixing it. But here's where the drama went from spicy to straight-up jaw-dropping, if those money figures floating around are even close to real. We're not talking about a little breakup payout. We're talking Olympic-level audacity. With her past bankruptcies, high-end shopping habits, and long list of money woes, people can't help but wonder if this whole thing was a setup from the start. Fans are side-eyeing hard. Did Miss Unbreak My Heart really marry the so-called #1 stunner just for the bag? And seriously, how did Birdman not see this play coming? The streets are still choking over the fact that she thought she deserved $160 million after being married for only 2 days. That's why a lot of people are now riding with Birdman and calling her a gold digger without hesitation. I mean, how do you walk away that quick and still think you've earned a fortune? Sure, the Birdman-Toni split went official back in 2019, but the plot got even messier when Birdman claimed that in 2023, she started circling back, dropping flirty hints, sending signals, and basically acting like she was ready to spin the block. From the way he tells it, she was sliding back in like nothing ever happened. But Birdman says he wasn't biting, 'cause by then he'd already moved on with his life. According to Birdman, Toni just wouldn't quit. She kept pressing, kept popping up, and slowly but surely, those old sparks started flying again. One thing led to another, and before long, they were back together like nothing had ever gone down. They rode that wave for about a year, and then on August 8th, 2020, they finally said, "I do." But here's the wild twist. Just 2 days later, Toni hit him with divorce papers. In the court docs she filed that September, she even listed their separation date as August 10th, literally 48 hours after the wedding. Fans are still scratching their heads trying to figure out what could have possibly happened in that tiny window, but the whole thing smells shady from every angle. And the $160 million she's gunning for, fans are straight up shook. Even 50 Cent jumped into the mix on Instagram, clowning the situation, saying, "Now watch, women are gonna say, well, if you stuck around for 16 years, you'd want to be paid for it." Only, in this case, it wasn't 16 years. It was barely 2 days. Word on the street is Birdman now believes Toni was never about love. It was always about the money. And honestly, when you realize his net worth is sitting around $160 million, and she's allegedly trying to grab every last dime, it's not hard to see why he's heated. She didn't even make it a full week as Mrs. Birdman before calling it quits, and insiders say he's been fuming ever since, dragging her behind the scenes and telling anyone who'll listen that she's nothing but a gold digger. Birdman's not holding back. No filters, no sugarcoating. He's saying straight up that he got played, and some insiders are backing him up heavy. The whispers are that Toni didn't just try to hit him for his money through the courts. Oh no, she allegedly took it even further, trying to unload some of his jewelry when she couldn't get her hands on the cash directly. Messy? Absolutely. But should anyone really be shocked? Not if they know Toni's history with money. Back in the 90s, she was one of the biggest stars on the planet, raking in serious cash, yet somehow managed to lose it all. Not once, but twice. Her first bankruptcy in 1998 was a full-on industry bombshell. Fans couldn't wrap their heads around how someone who'd sold millions of records could suddenly be broke. But the drama didn't stop there. By 1999, the money troubles were still spiraling and the headlines were brutal. At one point, she even sat down with Oprah to set the record straight. But that move backfired big time. Oprah pressed her on her spending habits and straight up called out the reckless choices that got her buried in debt in the first place. Instead of taking accountability, Toni clapped back on live TV, accusing Oprah of being mean and painting herself as the victim, saying, "People look down on me." She did manage to bounce back after that first bankruptcy, and for a minute, it looked like she might have finally gotten her finances under control. That comeback? It didn't last. By 2010, Toni was back in the headlines, filing for bankruptcy again, and this time, the numbers were even uglier. Reports say she claimed her debts were somewhere between $10 million and $50 million. That's not just a money problem, that's a full-blown financial meltdown. Toni pointed the finger at the sudden collapse of her Las Vegas residency, which was canceled after she was diagnosed with a serious heart condition. But that wasn't the only storm she was facing. There were big insurance disputes, messy battles over coverage, and a mountain of unpaid taxes stacking up behind the scenes. Since then, insiders say she's been quietly fighting to keep her head above water, and the stats tell the story. The music just isn't moving like it used to. Her last album barely sold 7,000 copies and only climbed as high as number 163 on the Billboard 200. The one before that? Around 16,000 copies. For someone who once ruled the charts, those numbers scream trouble. With record sales flatlining, her main money stream shifted to the Braxton Family Values reality show. But even that fame glow has dimmed. The buzz around the show has slowed in recent years, and without constant media attention or chart-topping hits, the pressure has been building hard. The cracks in the empire are starting to show, and fast. Now fans are seriously questioning if Toni's whole Birdman comeback was about love or straight-up survival. Word was already floating around that she was just inches away from a third bankruptcy. And then, out of nowhere, she pops back up in Birdman's life after more than 4 years apart. The timing? Way too perfect for some people's liking. It's got folks thinking she was chasing that bag, not the man. Because let's be real, when they suddenly reunited in 2023, nobody could make sense of it. Toni had spent years swearing they were over for good, even saying there was no chance of a reunion. She once snapped, "Who do you think I am? Don't you know that he was my man?" Making it crystal clear she was done. So when she pulled a complete U-turn and started cozying back up to him, fans instantly smelled something fishy. Now with Birdman publicly spilling tea and airing every bit of dirty laundry, people are starting to believe the whole reunion was just a calculated move for money from day one. And honestly, the clues were already there before this latest storm even hit. Remember that super awkward 2022 interview on Tamron Hall? Toni was there to open up about her lupus diagnosis. It was supposed to be raw, heartfelt, and personal. But the second Tamron brought up Birdman's name, the energy shifted. Toni went stiff, avoided eye contact, and the tension in the room was thick enough to cut with a knife. Fans watching could feel it. Something behind the scenes was off. And when she brushed it off with, "I'm just not feeling it anymore," it spoke volumes without saying much at all. And just like that, she came back again. Yeah, this Toni and Birdman saga has been nothing but a roller coaster since way back in 2016. On again, off again, and even when they were on, the whole relationship had people scratching their heads. Flashback to 2018, Birdman drops down on one knee with a massive $5 million yellow diamond ring. We're talking flashy, over the top, and blinding enough to have everybody talking. It looked like a straight-up fairy tale moment, until things got weird. Suddenly, radio silence. No wedding date, no real updates, just scattered rumors and an awkward vibe in the air. To a lot of fans, that engagement felt more like a publicity stunt than a love story. Then the wedding kept getting delayed, postponed, pushed further and further back. Toni blamed bad timing, but nobody was really buying it. And then came the red flag to end all red flags. Toni claimed she lost the $5 million engagement ring. Said she left it on a flight, the baggie it was in got returned, but the ring, gone, just vanished into thin air. Now how do you accidentally misplace a diamond like that? The streets are whispering that she didn't lose it at all. She allegedly pawned it to cover some serious debt. And honestly, with her track record, it wouldn't exactly shock anyone. Word is, she's been desperate for cash, and that ring might have been her quickest ticket to a payday. So, according to the whispers, Toni did what some in her position might do. She sold the most valuable thing she had at the time, that $5 million engagement ring. At first, Birdman didn't trip. He really believed her story about losing it and even played it cool in an interview, brushing it off like it was nothing. But if these rumors are true, that laid-back attitude didn't last. Birdman eventually found out the real deal. The ring wasn't lost at all. She had allegedly sold it behind his back. Once the truth hit, they tried to patch things up, but the damage was done. The engagement was dead, and before long, the whole relationship came crashing down. Fast forward to now, and it's looking like Toni might be running the same playbook all over again. Only this time, Birdman's not falling for it. From the outside, it seems like he's finally spotted the pattern. And he's not about to let history repeat itself. When you connect all the dots, the missing $5 million ring, the back-to-back bankruptcies, and that jaw-dropping $160 million divorce demand after just 2 days of marriage, the picture that forms is, let's just say, not a good look. And just when people thought the Toni Birdman saga couldn't get any messier, new whispers started swirling, the kind that make fans lean all the way in. Word is, after that explosive $160 million divorce demand and the ring drama, Toni didn't exactly back off. In fact, insiders claim she started making quiet moves to win Birdman's trust again, but with a whole different angle this time. Allegedly, she began showing up at events where she knew he'd be, playing it cool in public but dropping subtle hints in private that she just wanted to talk. Some even say she floated the idea of collaborating on music again, knowing full well Birdman's business connections could open the door to quick cash. But here's where it gets even wilder. Sources close to Birdman say he's been keeping receipts this time. Literal receipts. Word is, he's got text messages, photos, and maybe even recorded calls that paint a very different picture of Toni's motives. And if those ever hit the public, whew, it could blow the lid off the whole thing. Now, with Birdman standing firm and refusing to play into what he sees as the same old game, the tension is at an all-time high. Fans are split down the middle, some calling Toni a hustler just trying to survive, others calling her out as a master manipulator who plays long-term for the payday. Either way, if these rumors keep coming, this might end up being one of the messiest celebrity relationship sagas of the decade. And it's not over yet, vicious. Birdman might have been blinded by love in the beginning, but now? He's calling it exactly how he sees it, and he's not sugarcoating a single word. If these latest whispers are true, Toni may have just fumbled the bag for good, though some say she was chasing it from the jump. Now that the truth is starting to unravel, the real question is, how deep does this rabbit hole go? Is Birdman just bitter, or is he about to be a man about it and expose the side of Toni that's been hiding in plain sight all along? One thing's for sure, two things for certain. This saga is far from over. If you want all the latest tea as it spills, make sure you hit that subscribe button on Juicy Reel, where the drama never sleeps.